guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming a video that is long overdue. I had this planned for last month, but if you guys have been keeping up with me, it's kind of been a really wild July. I'll go ahead and link my life update video. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend checking it out if you're interested in knowing me a little better. But if you want to see the best eyeshadow palettes of 2021 so far according to me, then just keep watching. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. My name is Karen Harris. I like to film tan girl friendly makeup videos here on my channel. I love eyeshadow palettes so much, so if you like to see eyeshadow palette reviews and swatches on tan skin, this is the place for you. Highly recommend subscribing. I have a weekly declutter series that's going on my channel right now, so if you like declutter videos, every Friday you can find a new one here on my channel. And without further blubbering, let's get into it. Okay, so when I first decided to film this video, I actually wanted to do 3 videos, and I wanted to break it down by category. So I wanted to do best mainstream eyeshadow palettes of 2021 so far, best indie eyeshadow palettes of 2021 so far, and the best collaboration palettes of 2021 so far. And I do have quite a few palettes to show you guys, but I thought it would be more fun to just combine all of these into one big video. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I'm still going to keep it in categories. I will leave timestamps in the description box if you guys want to skip. And I will also try and link all the palettes in case you guys want to purchase them. Some of those links might be affiliates, so just so you know, I will make a small commission. So I feel like I've made you wait long enough. Let's go ahead and dip into my basket with mainstream eyeshadow palettes. These are the best eyeshadow palettes I've tried so far in 2021 that you can find at stores like Sephora or Ulta or just on your favorite makeup website. So in no particular order, the first palette I'm gonna grab is this one. So this is the Sigma Ambiance palette, and I actually was sent this in PR, so I do have a code with them if you want to purchase this. I find Sigma mostly on their website, but there are a few retailers that do carry their products. Anyway, let's focus on the palette. So I have been wearing more neutrals, especially after the month of March. I started working from home. I also got a small job at a boutique that I do part-time, and so for my boutique job, I really like playing with neutrals, and I feel like in 2019 and 2020, I was definitely into colorful eyeshadow. Now I feel like I do a little bit of both. So I try to balance that a lot on my channel now. I feel like I do a lot of neutral as well as a lot of colorful. I hope you guys don't mind that. But this is a solid neutral palette. Oh my goodness. I feel like Sigma to me is definitely more of a neutral eyeshadow palette carrying company or brand. But they do neutrals really well, and this palette is gorgeous. I feel like if you wanted a more updated, better quality version of the Urban Decay Naked Honey, this would be a good one. And look at this palette. It's just so stunning, and it's not just the outside, the inside has great quality too. Okay, the next one is from Natasha Denona, and this was an unexpected love of mine this year. This is the Zendo palette by Natasha Denona. I actually really don't like the mini Zendo. That's the one we got first from her. I feel like the color story is so much better in this palette, and I'm actually not even a big fan of her midi color stories. I think I have 2 favorites. I like the bronze, and I really like this one. And I can't decide on whether I love the bronze or the Zendo more, but I just think this is such a cool color story. It has some of her beautiful cream to powder formulas, and yeah, this is probably my favorite Natasha Denona palette of this year so far. I mean, you didn't think you were not gonna see BH in the lineup for best mainstream brands, did you? I had to give a shout out to this Let That Ish Go palette. Such a good green palette. You guys know I'm such a fan of green eyeshadows, and this is a really good one from BH. I really like the quality of these. I have 2 other palettes from them in this same lineup. I think this is called like the Speak Out collection or something. And the quality is that good BH quality we like. So I'm very excited to own this palette. I almost bought the 3 palettes I didn't have from this collection, and I was like, Karen, those are the neutral palettes. There's a reason you didn't buy them. Don't just buy them for the sake of having them. So I did pass on them. But the Let That Shit Go palette is so good if you're looking for an affordable green eyeshadow palette. Speaking of affordable green eyeshadow palettes, I had to give Juvia's Place a shout out. They have done some really good palettes this year, but I really wanted to call out this quad. This is the Army quad from their Rebel collection. And I think you can get this for like 10 bucks. I'm sure it'll go on sale eventually. But they've had a really good eyeshadow formula, and I really like the fact that they did a little green quad because I feel like right now smaller palettes are in, so I had to give this one a shout out as well. Okay, the only other BH palette I want to talk about is this one. This is Passion in Paris. Such a good palette, great quality from BH. I'm so happy with this color story, and this might be a strong contender for one of the best palettes of 2021. We'll see how the rest of the year goes, but I really like the quality. I like the color story, and the eyeshadows perform really beautifully as well. You guys know this is my favorite ColourPop palette of 2021 so far, so of course I had to include this. This might end up being one of my favorite palettes for 2021 as well. I've used this a ton. I'm so excited. I feel like I was waiting to see if ColourPop would ever top the Good Sport. And we finally have it. Like 3-4 years later, we finally have a palette that tops the Good Sport palette. And I love this. You guys know this is like me in a palette. These green shades, these neutrals that are still pretty interesting. Because this shade, it's Paradise. It's kind of like a gold green. And yeah, it's a really nice palette. I love when palettes have colorful shimmers and colorful mattes. I hate pairing neutral mattes with colorful shimmers on the lid, so I'm so happy when I see a palette that gives me a little bit of everything I want. Okay, I bet you didn't think I was gonna talk about this, but this is the e.l.f. x Jen Atkins collab. I never saw this coming, honestly, but Jen Atkins is like living her best life, and I think they did a really good job with this palette. These eyeshadows and the face products are so good. This palette I think retails for maybe like $12 or $15. I'm not 100% sure, but it's really good. This is like way better quality than any e.l.f. palette I've ever experienced. The packaging feels really nice and luxe. So if you're balling on a budget and you want to grab some eyeshadow from the drugstore, this is the palette I would recommend to you guys. Okay, the last palette I'm shouting out in the mainstream category is An Unexpected Love from summer 2021. This is the Supreme Bronze palette. I've said it so many times in videos. I was not expecting this palette at all. I feel like I was waiting for Artist Couture to do something new, and they have had a few palettes launch since they launched the Supreme Nudes palette, but none of them called to me like this one did, and I'm so glad I purchased this. Like I said, this year has really been the year of colorful palettes as well as neutral palettes for my collection. And I feel like the palettes I chose really shows that to you because we have a few colorful and we have a good balance of neutrals as well. So all of these neutral palettes that I mentioned in the mainstream category are so wonderful. This one, the quality is excellent. So if you're trying to make your list for the Sephora sale, I would say definitely make sure you put this on that list. Okay, so now we're on to the best collaboration palettes of 2021 so far, and of course you guys are gonna recognize all of these. The last palette that I added to this category is, of course, my friend Teresa Is Dead and her Lethal collaboration. I just tried this palette, so that's why it took me so long to get this video going, but this palette is so good. You guys know I already received PR from Lethal, and then when I found out they did a collab and then they sent me the collab, I was just like, oh my god, and it's so good. I did the most beautiful purple eyeshadow look with this palette, and I've had so much fun playing with it off camera as well, so very happy for Teresa, and I can't wait for more of you to get your hands on this palette and play with the Lethal formula and let us know what you think. I personally really like this palette, and yeah, the collaboration palette category is hard because there were so many good ones in 2021, and I know for a fact there are so many good ones still to come. So, okay, next, she's not a friend of mine, but of course I had to mention the Michaela palette. This was Glamlite's first collaboration, I believe, and it's such a beautiful, colorful palette. I do think some of these shades are pretty repetitive. Like, I've seen these shades before in other Glamlite palettes as well, But if you haven't tried Glamlite, if you're a Michaela fan, I think this is the perfect starter palette for you. I also do have a code with Glamlite. It's KHMAKEUP. Anyway, I'll put it on the screen for you guys, but it does save you money, and that is an affiliate code. But this palette is gorgeous. So I know Glamlite's website can kind of be intimidating because there's a lot of eyeshadow options. But if you're not into the food themed palettes, this might be the way to go, and the formula is excellent. Next, of course, I have to mention the Sydney Grace and Temptalia collaboration. This one was teased for so long, and we were all waiting with bated breath. And let me tell you, when I opened my mailbox and I saw the Sydney Grace package, I almost cried because I was like, I don't know if they're gonna send it to me. I don't know if I'll get it. Either way, I'm buying it. And then I was like, do I buy all 6? Do I buy the dark ones, the light ones? Like, what do I do? And then I so kindly received all 6 from Sydney Grace. So I was so grateful to be able to test everything out and swatch everything so I could really see the difference. If you're still eyeing these palettes, I would highly recommend watching my video because I did tons of swatches and comparisons, and I hope that helps you guys out, especially if you have my skin tone. Okay, I have 2 more palettes in the best collaboration palettes of 2021 so far. I'm sure you guys can guess, of course. I have to mention my friend Angie's Club Nebula palette with Kaleidos. Oh my gosh, I feel like this just fit right in with the Kaleidos lineup because they didn't really have a palette that had like grungy shades like this. So I'm so excited that they were able to collab and create such a beautiful palette. I do believe this is out of stock. I don't know if it's ever coming back. Lucky for me, I bought myself a backup because do you think I could ever live without this palette? Absolutely not, but yeah, it's so beautiful and I just can't wait to see what else Kaleidos does for this year. Okay, and then the last palette in my best collaboration palettes of 2021 so far is the Annette palette with Menagerie Cosmetics. Oh my goodness, this palette is so gorgeous. I liked the Menagerie formula, but I swear, since they did Flight Club, they've really upped their formula in my humble opinion. And this palette is no exception. So good. If you're wondering what palette to try from Menagerie, I would say this one or Flight Club, but it's so creamy. The eyeshadows are so good, so buttery. The mattes are so pigmented. These will stain your eyes, but honestly, it's not a big deal. Just use some primer, wash your face twice, and you'll be good to go. But I really like this, and of course, it's a collaboration with my friend Annette, who I love so much here on YouTube, and so I would highly recommend stalking the Menagerie Instagram in case you want to get your hands on this. Okay, I do have a Juvia's Place palette that snuck its way into my indie brand category, so I'm going to talk about it really quick. This is the bronze palette from Juvia's Place. I thought this was in here, but like I said, I had this all separated out and then I decided to combine it into one video. So the sucker got lost. But if you want an amazing small neutral eyeshadow palette, this one from Juvia's Place is so good. And Juvia's Place has such good sales too, so I'm thinking maybe for Labor Day weekend you'll be able to grab this on sale. I also love the bronzer that they launch with this palette, so I would highly recommend if you're looking for an affordable bronzer, Juvia's Place has you covered. Okay guys, it's time to get to the most exciting category in my opinion, which is just the best indie eyeshadow palettes I've tried so far for 2021. I've got quite a few here, so buckle up. This is the Laura palette from Alien Cosmetics, and I tried Alien Cosmetics, I think last year, this year, I can't remember. But I started off with the Serendipity palette and I've fast fallen in love with them. I love their metallic eyeshadows. They're so beautiful. Usually they are a duochrome formula, so you get a lot of fun punchy colors and the price point is great, and usually you can always use a code, which I love because I love to save money. So this is my favorite palette from them that I've tried so far. There's some beautiful shimmer shades. The mattes are okay, but the shimmer shades is where it's at, and you guys know I'm such a sucker for green, so this shade Basilisk got me right away, and so I would highly recommend checking this out if you are interested in trying Alien Cosmetics. The next palette is another palette that's full of beautiful duochromes. This is the Break the Rules palette. I did buy this with my own money, but I do have an affiliate code with them. It's KARENHARRIS, and you will save money. And I mean, who doesn't love that? I love this palette so much. Again, another beautiful, affordable, all shimmer duochrome palette that's like under 40 bucks, which I think is amazing. They also have a new palette coming out this week. I haven't purchased that one yet, but I think by the time you're seeing this video, that should already be launched. You can check it out in the description box, but I really love this palette. Another fun indie brand that's new for 2021, and I'm so glad I tried this palette out. Next is a indie makeup brand that is also new, and they sent me this palette. This is the What's Up Beauty Monsoon Desert palette. Oh my gosh, this is such a good palette. The pigmentation and the formula kind of reminds me of the Colored Rain formula. It's very beautiful and metallic. There's some gorgeous duochromes in this palette as well, and the mattes are really nice. They also launch brushes with this palette. Those are made in Japan. They're so good, and I'm so happy I got to try this brand this year. Okay, another palette that was sent to me, but that's not the reason I'm mentioning this. This is one of the most beautiful color stories of 2021, in my opinion. This is the You Beauty palette by Glamlite, and oh my gosh, such a stunning palette. These duochromes are so stunning. This shade called Flaming Gala and Gade. Whew, so good. I know this palette keeps selling out, so if you haven't gotten your hands on it yet, here's your friendly reminder. Okay, there's a lot of brands that it's my first time trying in 2021, so that's really amazing. Coming off the pandemic, I mean, these brands have really persevered to make some kick-ass products, so you guys know I had to mention the Blends palette. If you're looking for a really good all matte colorful palette, the Blends palette is the way to go. Again, there's a ton of codes for this palette as well. I think she promotes them on her Instagram, so I always advise you guys to use a code and save money. This palette is gorgeous. It's so pigmented. Usually my problem with rainbow palettes is they're not pigmented enough to show up on my skin tone. So I really like this. This sits on my desk usually because if I don't have a shade, a matte colorful shade, I'm always dipping into this one to kind of fill those gaps in my eyeshadow palette collection, and I just love this palette so much. Okay, it was my first time trying Klarity as well, and I tried their Cobra palette. We had a little bit of a disaster with the So Memorizing, but second time was the charm with this brand, and I really like this palette so far. I mean, it's not anything like out of the ordinary as far as the shades, because it's pretty, you know, beautiful shimmers and mattes. There's no duochromes or anything, but I like the quality, I like the formula, and so yeah, I thought I'd mention it in this particular video if you guys are looking for a beautiful green-blue palette. Okay, there's so many good ones. I can't believe it. And of course, I had to mention the Meet Me in the Underworld palette from Lois Cosmetics. This is another brand that is new to me, and I only tried them this year. This is the only palette I have from them, and it's so good. I mean, when I saw this in person, I was like, oh, okay, it's like a half neutral, half green, grungy palette. No big deal, but honestly, the formula is so good. So if you're kind of a beginner in makeup, but you want like really pigmented, metallic eyeshadows, this might be a good one for you to check out. Also, if you're in Europe, it might be a little bit easier for you to get your hands on this. I know sometimes when people from overseas try to order from the US, things take a little longer. So if you are a European subscriber, maybe check this brand out because I believe they are based in the UK. Even I had a really good shipping experience with this, so no complaints for me. But oh my gosh, this palette is so good. And yeah, I used it in a video where I did a get ready with me, and the eye look was just so effortless. So very happy with this one. Okay, I'm gonna mention these together because they are from the same brand. So I have two palettes from Adept Cosmetics. I have the Ninhydrin and the Codain. The Ninhydrin sold out in like a minute, and I was so disappointed because I was on that website ready to go and it sold out, and I was like, what? Like, how the heck did that palette sell out? So very excited that she sent this to me. I do have a code with them as well, and I will put that on the screen for you guys in case you want to save some money. But the Adept duochrome eyeshadows are so good. You guys know I've been a fan of them for quite some time, so love this palette so much. And then they did the Codain palette, which she also sent to me. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for fall time because I just feel like this is such a grungy fall time palette. So I'm going to be putting these on my lids day after day. There's 2 multi-chrome shades in here as well. I get asked all the time, Karen, which Adept palette should I get? Should I get Plain Jane? Should I get Ninhydrin? Should I get Codain? Honestly, I think it's worth the splurge to get all 3. I know. It's so easy for me to say, but honestly, if you're going to spend that kind of money on like a Pat McGrath or a Natasha Denona, you might as well save it and use it on one of these indie brands because these 2 are so good, and we know they have a collab coming out. They've been teasing a collaboration, so keep your eyes peeled because I'm so excited to see what that's all about. And then my last indie palette, so I can stop talking and get to editing this video, is this one from Nomad Cosmetics. This is their Fire and Ice palette. This is their tribute to Iceland. And they've come out with a few palettes this year, but I think this one is my favorite so far. And there's some, again, beautiful duochrome shades, some beautiful mattes. I really like this palette. I think they did such a good job with it, and I cannot wait to see what else they launch in the future as well. So cute. This packaging is wonderful. If you haven't tried Nomad yet, if you haven't fallen in love with them yet, I would highly recommend checking them out and getting your hands on this palette if possible. Okay friends, I feel like I've talked your ear off, but I hope you enjoyed this video talking about the best eyeshadow palettes I've tried so far in 2021. I can't wait to film the video at the end of the year. I just feel like 2021 has been such a good year for eyeshadow palettes, as always, I guess, because you guys know I love eyeshadows, so I'm totally biased, but let me know what is your #1 favorite palette of the year so far. I love hearing from you guys. I love catching up with you in the comment section. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in my next video soon. Bye!